Welcome to the Jackie Griffin Show. I'm here again joined by my co-host, Mr. Darnell Lee. And we have been out of town, both of us running around doing some fantastic things. Darnell, tell them a little bit about what you've been doing.
Well, I went to Atlanta, and I had an opportunity to meet with Tyler Perry and Palmer Williams, who plays on House of Pain. We talked about some great things, and also had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Sherry,
Hmm.
who also want to talk about mental health that's coming up pretty soon, and Jennifer Holliday and a lot of other celebrities who were on top, and now they're going through the they're going through mental health problems, and they want to talk about the things about what's going on in their livelihood ever since they was on top, and now they falling from grace, and they want to know how the depression set in, and it was a great conversation and dialogue, and closed some deals down there, and excited about going back down there.
I
So,
bet you are. Sound like you had a whole lot of fun. Well, I've had a pretty exciting weekend, and my birthday was Monday, and so I got to enjoy that with my family. Saturday, I went to my son's house to swim,
oh, okay.
and then Sunday we went to church, which I love to do.
Yes,
Shout
ma'am.
out to First Baptist of Glen Arden, Pastor Jenkins, awesome message about selfishness,
Okay.
and we can't be selfish. And then on Monday, my husband took me all over. He just took me everywhere to eat, shopping. We just did it all, and so it was a lot of fun. The movies, we saw two movies. We saw the second part of Think Like a Man,
Oh, you saw that one? Did
and
you enjoy it?
yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
It was really fun. It
You
was
just started
funny
thinking like a man,
too.
did you?
No, I did. And then we saw Purge, which
Mhm.
was quite interesting. I was
What's
surprised.
Purge about?
It's kind of like a scary movie.
Okay.
Um, well, I take that back. It's not really scary. It's about the government shuts down once once a year, and people can go around and they can kill whoever they want to kill.
Oh, it's just like what happened in D.C. when the federal government shut down.
They can kill whoever they want to kill for 12 hours. That's kind of
I
scary.
think everybody would be at the Congress.
I think so. That's kind of scary. So, but it was interesting. I don't think I would want to see it again, but it was
Okay.
interesting. But after that, I was blessed, and I really want to give a shout out to the Z Redskins.
Okay.
They blessed me with a huge bouquet of flowers.
Mhm.
When I came home from my trip and my fun with my husband,
Mhm.
my neighbor came over and they brought the flowers. So the Z Redskins, they blessed me tremendously. And then the DMV Divas,
Wow.
they gave me a bouquet of roses and a fancy shoe. So I wasn't expecting any of that, and it was really a blessing that they thought about me on my birthday.
Did you bring the shoe with you?
No, I didn't bring the shoe
Oh,
with me. I left all of those beautiful flowers at home. But it was really a blessing. And all of the shout outs from the fans on Facebook and Twitter, I just want to say thank you very much for making my birthday so special. You didn't have to do that. Thinking of me on that day, I really appreciate it. So it was really fun. And then yesterday, my youngest daughter took me to eat. She
Okay.
took me to get a mani and a pedi.
Okay.
Thank you, Dejan. And we did a little shopping. So it was really fun.
Wow, you had an excited birthday.
Yes, it is.
You look younger.
I am. See, I'm going backwards.
Okay.
I'm 48, but I'm aging backwards.
Okay. So you're 38 now.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe 28. I don't
28.
know. Let's see.
All right. Oh no, I saw you in that bouncing in Virginia. You was 28.
But God is good, and it's a
Mhm.
blessing to have another birthday.
Yeah, I had a chance to watch the message, selfishness, that Pastor
Yes.
Jenkins was preaching.
Yes.
And what I did, I sent the message text back to my wife and said, "Baby, am I selfish?" And of course she said yes.
Just like Pastor
Right,
Jenkins'
right.
wife.
And the funny thing was that she said, "I am too." And then we wrote a list down of everything that we were selfish about,
Hmm.
and that we're working on eliminating the selfishness from both her standpoint, and my point.
Oh, that's
point of view.
awesome.
So when Pastor Jenkins said, First Lady said, "You walk in there and leave the light on when I'm asleep,"
Oh,
I
cut
said,
the
"Well,
light
I
on.
do. Yeah, I do the
Mhm.
same thing." So
You
those are
know,
some of the things.
I can admit that I'm probably selfish when it comes to my family because I want them all to myself, and my husband too.
That's motherly love.
But I think after 27 years, I just go with the flow of things.
I just want to get 27 months.
I just go with the flow of things. I really don't have any complaints about anything as far as, when my husband come in the room, he'll say, "What's that you're watching?" I just give him the give him the control. I mean, there's so many TVs in the house. I just don't even worry about it. You just get up and go to another TV, and you learn these things over the years. But so his message was awesome. It really was, and it made you take a look at yourself.
Right.
But today we have a very exciting guest that's coming on, and she will be talking about diseases, life-changing diseases,
Right.
and the different types of things that we can do to, just inform ourselves about them, how they can be treated. She even formed her own foundation, and that's something else that she's going to be talking about when she comes on. I'm really excited to have her on our show today because she took what she had, and with God's wisdom and God's help and instruction, she turned it into what she knew. So she took what she was good at, and she turned it into a foundation that will help people.
That's
and
awesome.
so I think that's awesome. We all should take the gifts and talents that God give us.
That's correct.
And make them work for the good of others. And if we do that, I think God will continue to bless us in our endeavors.
Well,
and she did exactly that.
They say what man makes for evil, God makes for good.
Exactly.
So they took a bad situation and made a good situation out of it. She took her illness and started a foundation, didn't let her keep her down, didn't take her hand down, but took her hand up and lift her up, and encouraging others in what she's doing. I think that's awesome.
Exactly. And also, I want you all to not forget about the Ask Jackie segment. Please go to Twitter. I'm Mama Griff on Twitter, and you can go to Facebook, and I'm Jacqueline Griffin on Facebook, and ask those questions, and we will definitely respond to your questions. So don't forget to go to the Ask Jackie segment, and we are looking forward to hearing what you want, the information that you want us to provide you with today.
There's going to be a lot of birthday questions of what you did on your birthday. So
I hope
you
not.
ready?
Let's not make it about Jackie. Let's make it about something else that's more important.
All right.
I'm not selfish.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to our show, and we will be right back with the Jackie Griffin Show. Thank you. Welcome back to the Jackie Griffin Show. Oftentimes, we are searching for answers, searching for cures for diseases like kidney disease or cancer, diabetes, what is it? Some of the other ones. Lupus. We're always hoping and praying that there's a cure because we don't want to see people suffering with these diseases. And so many hours, I think, and countless time goes into researching for the cure for these diseases. And today we are joined by a lady who started her own foundation, and she's suffering with kidney disease, and she's functioning. And so many times you see, even with the little kids that have cancer, or even adults, it's not something that debilitates them.
Right.
Most of the time, people that are suffering with diseases, until the cures are found, they're out there serving the community. They're out there trusting and believing in God that there will be a cure.
Recently, you and I did a telethon with St. Jude, and we had the president and CEO of St. Jude talking about different illnesses and things. And when we were taking up the donation, it was quite interesting seeing the kids calling in with the cure and with the fundraisers. I think we both had a great time doing that.
Yes, we did. And we are joined today by a wonderful, wonderful woman of God. And she has created a foundation called the Walk with Me, Lord Foundation. And Mrs. Vanessa Crowe is awesome, and she's joining us today on the set. And this is actually a flyer from her foundation, and as you can see, it's awesome. It is exactly what it says, the Walk with Me, Lord Foundation. And she is going to explain the mission, the goal, everything about her foundation. And we'd like to take the time out right now and say, welcome, Vanessa, to our show.
Thank you so much. Like I told you earlier, I feel privileged, and it's nice to meet you
Nice
also.
to meet you as well.
My foundation was founded just a couple of, I say months ago.
Mhm.
And what we do as far as the foundation is concerned, what we do is we walk the runway. You know, you heard everyone walks miles for the cure. There's a breast cancer walk. There's a kidney walk. There's a lupus walk. Everyone walks miles. However, what we do is walk the runway for the cure. And I brought you guys just tokens of appreciation from my foundation. And
Oh, that's nice.
there are a couple of mugs. And I put our special Montevita coffee
Oh.
in the cup. Montevita coffee is promoted by Dr. Oz.
Mhm.
It has MCT oil in it, and we like to call it a healthy coffee.
Okay.
It has MCT oil and lots of vitamins and things like that. Actually in the coffee, so it's not an ordinary coffee.
Well, thank
But we
you.
build it in our mugs and we drink it.
So give me a picking up. So I can,
Yes,
you know,
it'll give you
shit.
a quick. It's a quick picker upper.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so
So
much.
we would like for you to try it. And but back to the foundation. I like you said, I have kidney disease myself. My kidney disease is called PKD, polycystic kidney disease. And what we don't know is when we're visiting our doctor regularly, the things that we should look out for are two specific things, and that is our GFR and our creatinine level.
What is GFR?
Glomerular filtration rate,
Okay.
and that's the rate that your kidneys filter your blood. So those are two things that we should look out for. My father was diagnosed with kidney disease. It's hereditary, and he did not know he had the disease until his kidneys failed.
Okay.
So it's very important that we get that.
I have a friend of mine who I graduated from BID, Brothers in Discipleship, a class at First Baptist Church of Glen Arden, and he has kidney failure.
Okay.
And he said the count's supposed to be at 80%, and his is down to 20%.
Right.
So it was like 8 of us in the classroom. So now all of us will be tested to see whether or not we're going to be a match to be a donor for him as well. So I applaud you in your effort and what you're doing. I'm glad that God has touched your life to make the walk with the Lord. What made you come up with that name, Walk with the Lord?
Well, one night I was just, you know how sometimes you get in a state and you just don't know what God wants you to do. Well, I prayed. I prayed for it, and I asked God, what will you have me to do? And God spoke and said, do what you do.
Exactly.
Do what you do. And I know what I do. I said, well, I do fashion shows. I've been doing fashion shows since I was knee-high to the cradle with my runway coordinator, Ron Cook. And
So you want to give a shout out to Ron Cook?
yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to Ron Cook. So
Now, who else you have in the audience with you?
I have Ron Cook, and I have my wonderful fiance, and his name is Frederick Devonshire. And without God, just like you say about Mr. Lee, without God and my fiance, none of this would be possible.
So you want to give a big shout out to the
Yeah,
fiance?
give a big shout out to Frederick.
Hey,
Swear.
big shout out.
Yes. And who also, Frederick is my kidney donor if I ever need to get a kidney. I don't need a kidney
Awesome.
right now. I'm not on dialysis
So
or
you
anything.
partners for life.
Yeah, we partners for life. I always say that's better than a ring.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
better than a ring.
Amen.
So he is my kidney donor. He's a match, and
That's a blessing.
so it is a blessing.
So before you move on, let me ask you this.
Sure.
How did he become a match to you? How did you all come together?
We came together like anybody else.
How did you meet? Let's
we
say
meet.
this. How did
Well,
you
we
meet?
were both working on a foundation called FP, and I'm gonna shout out FP too, Future Potential, and it's for children. And we were both on the board for Future Potential. That's the name of the foundation,
Correct.
and they help underprivileged youth in Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to the Brick City. And
Now, you're
so
originally from Newark, New
I'm
Jersey?
originally from Newark,
Okay.
but I moved to DC, and I stayed in DC for over 20 years.
Awesome.
So that's how we met. We met on working on in the foundation, and when we met, it was fireworks and streamers, and
All right.
then we
4th of July.
yes.
How it should be, right?
Exactly. And we didn't know we were a match until, and he didn't know I had kidney disease either.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I told him, we wanted to see, and we got tested, and voila. And what was so good about God? What is so good about God? I have 5 siblings, and none of them are matches.
Mm-mm. So you know that's your mate for
That's
life,
my
right?
mate for life.
Look at God.
Man, gonna give me a kidney?
Amen.
Absolutely.
So, for people that's watching, what is the process of getting tested for kidneys, for a donor?
You have to get blood work. You have to have it's mainly blood work and tissue, and blood and tissue work. So they have to take a sample of your blood, and then they have to take a sample of your tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Any tissue. It doesn't matter to be a definitive match.
Correct.
And that's really basically it. It's screened through the blood work and the tissue.
What is the turnaround time for whether or not you're a match?
Ours was fairly quickly because we volunteered. So our turnaround, and plus I have an awesome doctor. His name is Dr. Dr. Lyman, Dr. Neil Lyman in nephrology in East Hanover, New Jersey.
What is
And-
that? A private practice or a hospital?
Private practice.
Okay. All
Private
right.
practice, and I wanted to get him on here today with me,
Mhm.
but he was on vacation,
Right.
and so he's an awesome doctor. He's featured in a lot of magazines, medical
Awesome.
magazines. But anyway, with him being my doctor, he just pushed the paperwork through because I was so nervous. Even though I'm not in a hurry. My kidneys are functioning. They're not as low as 20%. They're at 48%.
Okay.
And they decline through the years. So because it was just I guess voluntary,
Uh-huh.
he just wanted to put me on notice, and so it was like a month turnaround to answer your question.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
So it's always better to be ready
Exactly.
and
It's better to
have
have
all
and
the
not
information.
need.
Exactly.
Exactly. Better to have and not need than to need and not have.
Now, being that it's hereditary, like you said, because your father had it and you have it, do you have any kids?
Yes.
Do any of them have?
I have one son,
Mhm.
and yes, he does.
Okay.
My
Okay.
one son has it too, so he can't donate to me either.
Okay. So, how do they treat as far as prevention or anything like that?
Now my condition is unique.
Mm-hmm.
It's hereditary, and there's no treatment for it.
Okay.
There's no preventative treatment for it.
Okay.
However, diabetes is
Mhm.
the #1 cause for kidney failure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The #1 cause. Diabetes, and after that, it's high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So that's mostly everything that happens in the African American culture.
absolutely,
Diabetes, high blood pressure.
absolutely, and it's heartbreaking. It's alarming, and it's heartbreaking how diabetes have taken a lot of people's kidneys, and it's over 50,000 cases where people's kidneys fail. Over 50,000 people's kidneys fail every year.
Mm.
50,000.
50,000.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
50,000. And that's due to diabetes and high blood pressure.
Now, is that prevalent in more than in one race more than another race, or is just in general?
Well, to be honest with you, with kidney disease, it's calculated differently.
Okay.
Our GFR is calculated completely differently. Whereas the Caucasian community,
Mhm.
theirs is calculated a whole lot different than ours because of what we eat.
Correct.
It's mainly because of what we eat and because of our diet and where we live.
Mm-hmm.
So it's calculated very differently. Like, for example, I can't tell my age, but but
Is this
for,
secret?
yeah, no, it's not a secret. I'm
Really?
48.
Me
Shut up,
too,
48.
girl. I had food 48 Monday. There ain't nothing wrong with
Happy
that.
belated birthday.
Girl, we aging backwards, not
I know,
forward.
exactly.
You don't look a day over 20.
Thank you. You either.
Thank you. Okay, now back to the food.
So,
Now, you did say you was walking with the Lord, right?
yes, I did. Exactly. And he will restore your youth.
Yes, he will.
That's right.
Yes, he will.
So, we, now what can you, someone
We-
remind me?
Yeah, we were talking about how the it was calculated different
Right,
in each
it's
race.
calculated differently. For example, someone, a Caucasian woman, my age, with her creatinine level, like my creatinine level right now is at point 4,
Mhm.
0.49, and and my GFR is down to 48.
Mhm.
A Caucasian woman, my same age, with the same GFR, with the same creatinine levels, her GFR would be 58.
Okay. And
So it's that big of a difference.
and does it, like you said, it has something to do with the diet? Do you think it has something to do with exercising, or just having a healthy, trying to be as healthy as you possibly can?
Well, kidney failure, no. To answer your question, no. Exercising puts more creatinine in your system.
Oh, okay, okay.
It builds your muscle. That's why when men are exercising and they drink these protein shakes,
Mhm.
you can see on the back of it, it says caution, warning. If it has too much creatinine in it, it will raise your creatinine level.
Mhm.
And elevated creatinine levels indicates kidney failure.
So,
'Cause your
protein shakes cause you to have kidney?
It
Could
can.
cause?
It can. It can.
Where's
If
the
it has creatinine in it. So just look at the ingredients.
Mhm.
Look at the ingredients.
I know you might not have it with you, but do you have a list on your website that listed some of the food that has the creatinines in it?
No, not yet. And as I said, my foundation is very new, and you guys know Namone,
Yes.
and he's working on my website as we speak.
Okay, okay. Awesome, awesome.
He's working on my website
Awesome.
as we speak.
So I see on here it talks about various different things about your foundation, and one thing it talks about your mission. What is your mission?
Okay, my mission is to provide spending change for people with life-altering conditions and awareness and spending change. For example, I had a breast cancer scare about a year ago, and when I go to the hospital where I go to get my screening, they give us a rose.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, I've been here all day, I'm hungry.
Mhm.
So I would like to donate to the hospital so that they can buy breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Mhm.
Transportation. I didn't have a way to get there when they were going to do the biopsies and things like that. I had nowhere to get there on my own.
Mhm.
So it would have been nice if the hospital paid for a taxi, maybe.
Mhm.
Just those little things mean so much. I would like to send somebody on a cruise.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, the Kidney Foundation, they have cruises where you can get your dialysis on the cruise. And so, I would like to contribute to that and mainly bring awareness of these conditions, because there's so many. 117 million people are living with a life-altering condition.
Mhm.
That's a lot of people.
17 million people.
Mhm.
117 million people. Over 500,000 babies are born prematurely.
Mhm.
500,000. So
That's a lot.
these are life-altering things, conditions, and when you're born prematurely, there's an array of things that can happen. Lupus. I would like to just make them aware that some of these things can be prevented, some of them can be controlled,
Mhm.
and just to give them some spending change. spending change.
And that sounds great because a lot of times when we're afflicted with diseases or we sometimes people stop living, and really and truly your attitude about anything that happens to you in life,
Right.
your attitude is what makes the difference.
Exactly.
You see so many people that you may have one person that's diagnosed with cancer and another person that's diagnosed with cancer, but that person with that positive attitude
Exactly.
is thriving
Exactly.
in the cancer,
Exactly.
and the other person is steadily regressing and actually dying slowly. So I
Exactly.
think that the awareness, like you said, is very important, but also that they know that they can still live. You can still live with this, no matter what
Exactly.
you're afflicted with. In my mind, I believe the practical, and I know you have to do the practical.
Right.
But I know a doctor and a
His
healer,
name is
yeah, that
Jesus.
named Jesus, and that he is the one who can cure us from everything. But we have to believe. We have to believe, and if I have to go to the grave believing, at least I believed
Exactly.
and I lived. Don't stop
Exactly.
living. So that's one thing that I would say today about anybody that has a life-altering disease, that they've been diagnosed with something that man says that you're going to die. Trust God, pray and believe. Do the practical. Take your medicine.
Exactly.
But also take your spiritual medicine.
Exactly.
And don't stop living, and don't stop
Don't
loving. If anything, increase
Right.
and do things that you had put
Right.
on the back burner.
Right.
And when we get back, we're going to talk more with Vanessa about her goals for her foundation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Jackie Griffin Show, where we are still joined on set with Miss Vanessa Crowe of the Walk With Me Lord Foundation. And we're talking today about living with life-altering diseases. And she was talking to us before we left about the mission of her organization. And we like what she's saying in reference to informing people so that they can live a better life. And I had a question in reference to your diet. How did your diet change, or how did you change your diet? Because we know we are what we eat.
Right. Well, my diet had to change drastically to preserve the function of my kidneys. So, no meat, no protein. The protein is very little protein. I don't want to say no protein because sometimes I nibble. But for the most part, beef, pork, lamb, no protein.
So you can eat no
builds
beans?
meat protein builds creatinine.
That's what I was about to ask. What's wrong with the protein?
Yeah,
Okay.
it builds creatinine in your system, and the kidneys, it's very difficult for the kidneys to process creatinine protein once they start to fail.
What about
Okay.
Dairy
okay.
products?
Dairy products, see, I don't normally like dairy products, but I can eat dairy products, but just the natural things, the normal things that we really should not be eating, normally I try not to do. But for the most part, no meat protein, so I do a lot of beans, fish, I can do the fish, but I'm restricted on protein, potassium,
Like bananas?
bananas.
Okay.
Bananas will take my kidneys out. Potassium is another thing that the kidneys, that's difficult to be processed through the kidneys.
Now, this is kidneys when you have kidney failure, when you're having problems with your kidneys,
Right,
not
when
for a
you-
person who's not having problems
Right,
with kidneys.
but you should reduce those things in your diet
Okay.
normally
Okay.
to help your kidneys.
Gotcha.
Now, when I was growing up as a kid, my father knew every bean that was out in America. We had kidney bean, lima bean, black eyed pea. I mean, it was like every week we was eating some type of beans.
And beans are good.
How important is kidney beans for you?
Kidney beans are good. Kidney beans are good for us. The protein in kidney beans are totally different from every bean on the face of the earth.
And not to cut you off, for you Southerners, that's red beans.
Yeah, that's red beans.
We don't call them kidney beans. We call
But
them
not-
red beans.
Exactly.
Okay.
But they call them kidney beans.
Red bean get the the rice with.
They
Yes.
say kidney beans on a pack, but
Yeah.
you know we call them red
Red
beans
beans.
in New Orleans.
Okay.
But we call them kidney beans not so much because they're healthy for the kidneys, but because of the shape of them
Okay.
and the color.
Yes.
They look like little kidneys. So
Well, you know, I got in trouble because after a while we had napkins beside our on the side of our legs. So when my father would turn his head, we would,
for kidney beans,
They're
yeah, because after a while,
they're so good.
I mean,
And
but we
chili?
ate them. We grew from 5 to 15, and at that point you get tired of 'em. And at one point, you know, we went upstairs and the toilet got stopped up because all of us was lined up dumping it.
That's
I
terrible.
used to do the same thing with peas and carrots, though.
Yeah, we used to dump them, and then the plumber had to come and trust me, we paid for them beans.
Oh God.
The rod came out.
So you don't like kidney beans?
I mean, I eat them now, but I'm saying,
Okay.
but back then, it took me
was-
about 5 years. I got away from all of them because we ate them almost every week. We was
Well,
eating some
eat
type of
them.
bean. But I thank my mother and father for that because I'm healthy.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
But they are important to your liver.
They are
Kidney.
your kidneys, and the thing. Matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned liver. The kidney disease that I have it affects the liver, the lungs, and the heart.
Okay.
So that's why it's extremely important that my blood pressure is maintained.
So,
because
speaking of, can you eat liver?
no, I can't eat
Can't eat
liver.
on liver?
I can't eat liver. I can't eat too many meat byproducts.
Okay.
Like for example, I can eat it, but small, very very small portions. If I eat a lot, then it boosts my creatinine levels, and you don't want to do that.
Right.
So for a day to day, let's go
A
through
meal?
a meal for you
Okay.
from sun up to sundown.
In the morning, it's blackberries, cranberries, and maybe an egg. I can do
Boiled or
pancakes.
scrambled or however you
It
choose.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. So it's blackberries, cranberries, strawberries. These things are low in potassium. Okay. Orange juice can't have it. So blackberries, I love blackberries. I love strawberries. I love blueberries, and I love cranberries. So those are just mainly celery. For breakfast, I'll have blackberries, cranberries, crushed, smoothies.
Does it matter if they're fresh or if they're frozen?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Matter of fact, the frozen ones are almost just as good.
Okay.
Because they don't add, as long as they don't add sugar
Gotcha.
and sodium
Okay.
or anything like that. So you can go in the grocery store and look on the bag and it'll say 0 sodium, it'll say 0 potassium, it'll say if it doesn't have potassium.
Correct.
Naturally. So I fill up off of lemonade, anything, lemons, potassium is low, and it's funny, actually it's no potassium. And it's funny because oranges have a lot of potassium. So I can eat grapes, but I can't eat raisins.
I understand.
It's just the processing is just weird.
So what does a
So-
lunch look like?
Oh, what?
A lunch meal.
A lunch meal? A lunch meal, maybe fish. I love tilapia. That's my
Okay.
favorite. I love tilapia. Lunch would be tilapia, celery, spinach, or something like that. Kale.
And dinner?
Dinner, kale, 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 spinach, 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 spinach.
And fish?
Fish.
Okay. And
But
for
then I
dessert?
can go a night. I can go a night with kale, spinach, a green bean, and a potato. Maybe a potato, because potatoes are high in potassium.
Right.
So maybe a
What
potato.
about sweet
some corn.
potato? Can you eat a sweet potato?
Sweet
Too
potato. I
high?
can eat it, but
Just in moderation.
just have to eat it in
Oh,
moderation.
so no sweet potato pie for you. Oh.
So what about dessert? What can you eat for
Dessert? I can eat mainly anything a dessert,
Okay.
as long as it doesn't have a lot of sodium in it. So the box cakes, I try to stay away from those. I like fresh baked cakes and things like that.
But you can't have banana pudding.
No, oh no, 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 no! I can't have banana
Yeah,
pudding.
okay,
Not at all.
all right.
Not at all. Not
Right.
at all.
Well,
I
switch-
may have a slice of cake or something.
Right.
Switching the subject from foods to organizations.
Okay.
I currently run the National Institute of Health Shuttle Service. And
Okay.
are you reaching out to those organizations where you can come in and speak more? Or are you setting up to go to Congress and testify, congressional hearings? What is next for Ms.
I'm
Grooms?
setting up to do events first,
Mhm.
so that we can raise the funds, so that we can go on Capitol Hill and fight. I would love to talk to those different types of organizations. However, I want to be prepared.
Right.
I want to be prepared. There's cost involved, and I really want to be prepared, financially prepared, before I go out there and fight, because I still got to work a job.
Right.
And so that's why you want
So.
to you said do shows or
Yeah, and like I said, instead of walking miles, we walk the runway.
right. Tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us a little bit more
Okay.
about walking the runway. I know what the
Okay.
term means, but I want you to tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, and like I said, instead of walking miles, we walk the runway. In October, we have a show scheduled in October, which Mr. Dwight Eubanks from Married to Medicine and Atlanta Housewives, he's going to be hosting our show. I'm really excited about that. So during a show, what we'll do is for my it's my breast cancer walk is the first one that I'm going to do. The breast cancer walk is going to be in October in conjunction with Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
So do you have a date, a place, a venue, or everything?
I do. However, I would love to get back to you guys on that definitively.
Okay.
I'm looking at a particular date, and I'm looking at a particular venue.
Okay. So
but I
once
don't wanna,
your website is up and running, you'll have that information on it.
Everything will be on that website.
Okay.
I have a mobile website now, so if you text walk to 55469, you can get some information on my mobile website for now.
Can you repeat that again?
Yes, if you text walk to 55469.
Awesome.
Okay, and
So what is your show going to consist of?
oh wow!
Tell us a little about it.
It's gonna be beautiful. We have the pink carpet.
Mhm.
We have signature drinks, pink martinis, and even though I don't drink at all, we're gonna have pink martinis and Shirley Temple pink. It's going to feature some of the breast cancer survivors.
Awesome.
We're going to do a slideshow presentation for the breast cancer survivors. We're going to have a memorial segment for the ones that have already passed away. We're going to have an off calendar. It's called Off on the Runway. Off stands for over 40 and fabulous.
Oh yeah. I'm feeling that.
And the reason why I chose 40, everything is going to be circled around 40. We're trying to raise $40,000 towards this cause. Everything is circled around 40 because, as you know, that 40 is the age, recommended age that men and women go get their breast cancer screening. So everything is 40.
40 is the new 20. Don't y'all know that? But okay.
So all the models, it's called Off on the Runway, over 40 and fabulous on the runway. All the models are 40 and over.
Okay.
We're going to have an off calendar featuring the models, and we're going to have raffles, and in the show I have a 40-yard pink runway.
Awesome.
It's just going to be beautiful and an awesome event, and I'm really excited about Dwight Eubanks coming to host this show for us, this fashion show for us this event.
I know you said your website is not up, but for those who want to donate again to your organization, could you give them the website, or email, or something?
Yeah, they can text walk to 55469. There's a there's a segment on there where it says donate. So you just press donate and you can donate all the money you want. And on the website, my email address is twwmlf@yahoo.com.
Can you say that again?
Sure.
Slower.
Sure. It's twwmlf, the Walk With Me Lord Foundation, @yahoo.com.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Now, what church do you belong to?
I belong to Israel Memorial AME Church in New Jersey.
In New Jersey?
Shout out to Pastor Jackson.
Now, do you speak in front of the congregation and talk
No.
about the wellness?
No, no,
Not
no,
yet.
no, no,
Not
no.
yet?
No, I've actually been going to my dad's church, and they've been really very supportive.
His church
Yes,
is?
my dad's church is Salvation Deliverance Christian church.
And what's Daddy's name?
My father's name is Vernon Eugene Crowe Sr., and he also has kidney disease.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, some of the like the fabulous young lady who did your hair and makeup,
Yes.
is she going to be doing the makeup and hair for the models
She
for the
will be-
show?
She will be in New Jersey, and she will be doing touch-up, makeup. You know, they come to the show with their hair done
Mhm,
already, so
mhm.
she'll be doing the touch-up. She's from here. She's from DC. Bella.
Does she have a website? If anybody likes what she's done for you and want to have her come
Well-
out and do anything for them?
Absolutely. But can I let her shout it out?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. You have to say it a little louder. Belize Vintage at gmail.com.
All right.
All right.
That sounds great. Now, in your fashion show, are there going to be any men or just all women?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I have a designer. His name is Alon Moore. Alon Moore is going to be making 5 outfits per model on him.
How many models will there be?
Wow.
40.
40 models.
Oh, number 40 is the
Over
thing.
40.
Yes.
Awesome.
40 is the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's
Awesome.
going to be designing. And
You'll be model as well?
I think so.
Oh, okay, that's a
Not
surprise.
Sure. I'm not
Awesome.
sure.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Awesome. And you organized everything with,
Everything.
oh, awesome. Like you said, you've been doing it since you were,
Knee tied to the cradle. I love it. The outfits that Alon is going to make for me, he made all those outfits on there.
Beautiful.
The outfits that Alon is going to make for me will be, well, I say they're going to be auctioned off. I say I'm going to auction off the clothes on my back,
Mhm.
but he's going to make it in their size.
awesome.
So we're going to do a raffle.
Now, does he have a website? Is he,
He has a Facebook page, and
Oh.
it's under Alon Moore.
can you,
A-L.
yeah, can you
Sure.
spell that for
Yep,
them?
his name is Alon Moore, and his Facebook page is ALIAN Moore, MOORE.
Awesome,
That's
awesome.
right.
Yes.
Why are you so passionate about getting this information out to the public?
Well, you know what? I have kidney disease. I have an aunt with breast cancer. I have I had a very good girlfriend. Her name was Monica Finn. She passed away with lupus. My nephews were born prematurely. They were a pound apiece. They're twins. It's so, and having kidney disease and the only sibling to have kidney disease, I feel alone.
Mm.
And if I could just like network, go to the movies with a bunch of people that, have kidney disease or have breast cancer, or I just think that we are separated, people don't understand us.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're my siblings, they don't understand me at all. When I have to go to the doctor, sometimes if I can't take myself because of a procedure or something, I don't have anybody to take me. So, and they just don't understand. And I just think that we can come together and create not only awareness and educate, but understand, understand me, what I'm going through. So.
That makes sense because a lot of times, no matter what it is in life, unless someone has the experience that you've had,
Right.
they do not
They
really
don't.
understand
They do
what
not.
you're going through or how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you get together with a group of people who understand you, it makes you feel like you're not alone.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And so that just the term that I like to use a lot. I didn't coin it though, but that we're better together.
Exactly.
We're better together.
We
And
are.
it's easy for someone to say, I understand what you're going through. No, you really don't understand unless you've walked
in their shoes.
in my
My
shoes. And so I truly don't understand what you're going through.
Right.
but I understand what your goal and your purpose is and your mission in life,
Thank
and that's
you.
to educate and inform people and let them know, yeah, you have, like you say, you have kidney disease,
Right.
but kidney disease does not have you, and
Exactly.
you are going to continue to live your life and do
Exactly.
things to educate and inform people like you
Right.
and people who have lupus and all these other
Right.
life-altering diseases, to
Right.
let them know that there's somebody out here.
Right.
Um, and I have a foundation, and it's called the Walk With Me Lord
Lord
Foundation, and I understand what you're
Exactly.
going through, and I'm here to help.
Exactly. And you know, and if we can just so much as to get them some spending change, that's just so important. Just so important that they can say, you know, I would like to go to the movies, but I got to pay this medical bill.
And that was going to be my next question to you. I can only imagine how expensive the medical bills
Expenses.
are, expenses are. Does your medical coverage cover everything that you have to go through, all of the procedures, the medication, or are you coming out of pocket a lot with
Well, I do have to come out of pocket with some of the procedures and some of the medications. Of course, medical benefits don't pay it all.
Okay.
And I was blessed with a organization that I also became involved with in direct sales. They will now have medical benefits
Awesome.
as well. So I can not only can I offer spending change, I can offer medical benefits as well. So my organization will have medical benefits for everyone that works with me through the direct sales and marketing organization that I also work for, which allowed me to even get the business started.
Now
The foundation
I do have
started.
another question. I know that with President Obama's initiative for the
Mhm.
health care for everyone to
Right.
have health care,
Right.
how does that affect people who have pre-existing
Resistant
conditions?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no, that was my question.
It covers them.
Okay.
It covers them. United Health is a big one, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't know if I don't know if it's small, but the benefits that's unique to this area, like Kaiser.
Mhm.
I lived here for 21 years, and I had Kaiser. I don't know how on board those private, if I will, but if I can say that, private health benefits are contribute. But I know Blue Cross Blue Shield is big, and United Health.
Because I
So
know a
they
lot of
cover. They cover.
yeah, because I know a lot of time, like you're saying, some people will say, well, I want to go to the movies or I want to go eat out, but I can't afford to because my health comes first. I
Yeah.
have to get this medicine or I have to
Yeah.
pay these medical bills. And with this
I have to
initiative,
go to Whole Foods.
correct, right, because
You have to
there's
do
certain
gamble.
things that you have to
Exactly.
eat because of your diet. I was just wondering if, with with the Obama initiative, if that helped kind of take some of the weight off of folks who really were not getting diagnosed because they had no health benefits, so
Right.
they didn't know what was wrong with them, and a lot of people were dying
Right.
from these life-altering diseases because they had no health care.
Right.
So I think that is awesome in that
Regards.
aspect, and making sure that nobody's really left behind or left out
Exactly.
anymore in a sense
Exactly.
of, but I just wanted to make sure that when I asked the question, maybe that some of the viewers might have asked was, okay, I have this pre-existing condition, will I still qualify for health benefits?
Now again, I'm not well versed in that particular
Mhm.
area, but I know with my kidney condition,
Mhm.
I personally called Blue Cross and Blue Shield,
Okay,
and they will cover me.
good,
They
good,
will cover me.
good,
So,
good.
because I was interested because of my foundation, I want to be able to offer anybody that works with me under the foundation. I want to be able to offer them medical benefits, just like a regular organization or corporation. I want to be able to assist them with that. And then when the other direct sales and marketing company announced that they were going to be offering health and medical benefits, I wanted to see what it was under them as well.
You know, to piggyback on what Ms. Griffin was saying, you know, you can ask 1,000 people, would you want the Affordable Care Act or would you want Obamacare? And a lot of people say they want the Affordable Care Act, which is the same as Obamacare, and they didn't know it.
I was just getting ready to say because they don't know.
They don't
Right.
know.
They don't know. They don't
Right.
know.
But it's
Right.
just saying that, okay, we don't want this, but I want this when it's the same pie. And, you know, for the president to put the initiative forward and allow a particular, when kids go to college, they can stay on their mom, dad insurance up to their
Exactly.
26 years.
Yes.
When at first you had to be 21 and you had to get your own insurance.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great things in the Affordable Care Act or
Yeah.
Obamacare, however you want to name it, that's working in your favor as well as for the people who have pre-existing injuries and
Yes.
diagnosis as well. So
Yes.
for you to be a spokesperson for this, I applaud you, and I think
Thank
that
you.
more needs to be done.
Thank you.
More awareness, more people need to learn more about how their kidneys function, and more adults. I mean, the other day I was in Atlanta, and I was at a restaurant, and
Okay.
you know, just seeing how younger people fill their plates up, and just gluttony, just eating and eating and eating. And to be honest with you, I looked at them and I was full, and I couldn't eat my food because, you know, we talked about diabetes, and we
Yeah.
talked about high blood pressure, and just because it's a buffet, don't mean you have to eat the whole
I know.
eat the place out of house and
Yeah.
home. We eat in moderation. And,
Exactly.
you know, just to see the kids at a younger age, plates bigger than mine, it kind of turned me off.
Yeah.
I paid I already paid before I came in the restaurant, but I had to leave.
Wow.
And the parents need to know that what you're doing, you're not helping them, you're hurting them, because that kid is going to grow up and have
And
high blood
have-
pressure.
Yes.
He's going to be lazy.
Yes.
He's going to be bullied,
Yes.
talked about, and they setting the precedent for their kid because now they're not looking out for the best interest of his health.
Exactly.
Now, obesity is also a problem with kidney disease
That's
as
what I
well.
was going to ask.
It is.
Mhm.
It is. And you know, just to piggyback off of that about parents, you can only do better when you know better.
Exactly.
Right.
And the parents, a lot of them don't know themselves.
Education.
Exactly. And then a lot of times people eat what they can afford.
Exactly.
And that is another reason why I want to be able to say, okay, here's the grocery money. Here's the transportation. Here, let's go to Whole Foods. Let's go to Fairway. Let's go to some of these stores who have, you know, prime foods. You know what I'm saying? So, and there was a comedian that said, the buffet says all you can eat, not eat all. So,
And
you know,
that's
and
true.
we tend to go in and try to eat the whole buffet as if our stomachs can hold all of this, and it really can't.
Exactly.
It really can't.
Exactly. And you hit on a good point there when you said that if parents, they don't know any better, they can't do better because they don't know any better.
Exactly.
And then economically, they're forced sometimes to buy what
Yes.
they can afford.
Exactly.
And sometimes and mostly all the time when I go in the store, it seems the healthy stuff costs more than the unhealthy stuff. And so you gravitate a lot of times to what is cheaper
Yes.
if you're on a budget.
Exactly.
And what is cheaper is not always what's good for you.
It's not.
And
And
so I truly understand that.
But you know what, too? You don't need all of that food. You don't need all of that to get full.
No, you
Because
don't.
a lot of times, if you're really hungry and you eat something, just put something in your mouth. You are not really hungry anymore. People tend to eat what they have on their plate.
Not knowing that it takes about 30 minutes to an hour for your food to digest, for your system to even recognize that you put
Exactly.
food in it.
Exactly.
And so then you have your kidneys and all these other organs
together.
working overtime,
Exactly.
trying to filter all of this food that you've overate
Yeah.
and put in your system. So it's
And-
just a process, I'm
And
telling you.
it's really funny because you talk about what I eat a lot, you know, what we eat. But with my condition, I'm going to always go back to my condition. It's about the deodorant that I wear, the lotion that I put on, anything that goes through my pores
Wow.
is
Right.
it can harm my kidneys. So I have to wear special deodorant. I have to wear lotions with no fragrances or anything like
And
that.
why is that? Why is that?
Well, deodorant, I can wear deodorant, but I can't wear antiperspirant
Hmm.
because of the aluminum.
Now, I was also told from a detoxer
Yes.
that from the colognes and everything you just said, when it goes into your skin,
Yes.
it goes into your pores, which goes into your kidneys,
Yes.
and all your organs,
Wow.
and that also causes for a shutdown, or you have diseases because everything goes through your pores.
Exactly.
Wow.
And your body is filtered three different ways: through your kidneys, through your skin, your pores, and through your liver. And there's only particular vitamins that you can take. Like I can't take water soluble vitamins. I can take fat soluble vitamins because it's processed through the liver.
On that note, we are going to take a
I'm sorry.
commercial break because this is getting real interesting now. And we'll be right back with more of Miss Vanessa Crowe. And we're going to talk more about what she was talking about when we get back. Joined on set with Miss Vanessa Crowe. And we were talking before we went to commercial break about lotions and perfumes. And that it really got good to me. And so I thought it would be great information for our viewers as well to know if you're suffering with kidney disease, or even if you're not, just to protect your kidneys, some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to, as you know, even care for your skin, brushing your teeth, washing your hair, or even washing your clothing. So Vanessa is going to inform us on some of the different things that we should be using or that she uses, and we can choose to or not choose to use.
Right. Well, like I was saying earlier, our body processes things out of our system three different ways, and that's through our pores and our skin. Um, I say blood, sweat, and tears. So it's through our pores and our skin, through our liver, and through our kidneys. And having kidney disease, I deodorant. I can use deodorant, but I can't use antiperspirant because of the aluminum. My cookware, I don't use anything. I don't cook with any aluminum. I cook with cast iron and glass. Corningware. Corningware.
Okay.
That's it. Corningware. And even hair products. I don't normally do makeup. I don't do anything that has to be that can go into my system that my kidneys have to process.
Okay.
So if I do use a lotion, can I say the lotion on?
Yes,
Okay.
that's fine.
The lotion that I will use, if it's a processed lotion, is Lubriderm, but it has to be dye-free and color-free.
And you tell
So,
Lubriderm
and-
that you want an endorsement from them, right?
I know. I'm gonna tell Lubriderm I want an endorsement, and Tom's too. Tom's is another brand that it's a natural brand that I use. I use Tom's deodorant, toothpaste. I'll use the Colgates and things like that, but my favorite is Tom's and for deodorant, and toothpaste, and different things.
But let me
like
ask you a
that.
question.
Sure.
We talked about detoxing.
Mhm.
Is that good, healthy for the body to get all those minerals and bacteria out of your system?
Detoxing is good, but your body naturally detoxes. It's just sweating, and you have to be careful with that as well because you can easily dehydrate yourself, and dehydration can cause your kidneys to malfunction too as well.
So natural, good old sweating
Blood,
is,
sweat, and tears.
is detoxing. So you mean to
Exactly.
tell me we've been buying all those different products
Yes.
and taking all the different pills to try to
Yes.
detox your system and your
Yeah.
body?
Your
God
body
made it
nat-
naturally by just sweating.
Yeah.
You talked about the lotions. What about, for the stay-home moms who have to wash their clothes and bleaches, detergents?
Well,
Is there any special products used?
I use normal Tide. I use Tide. I try to stay away from anything with dyes and colors and things like that. But I will use Tide, but it's in the rinse. It's in the rinse. You can't do a lot. You can't have an abundance. You can't eat in abundance. You can't wash clothes in abundance. You can't, and these are things that we should normally be doing.
So it's
So I
practice.
I will use Tide, but my favorite is baking soda. So
Okay.
anything as close to natural as possible. I use Castile soap, Dr. Bronner's Castile
You
soap.
missing all these endorsement
I
products,
know.
huh?
Oh, and when you say hair products, is it okay to use chemicals in your head?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You know, but normally, just like because I am on medication, I try to let my hair be as natural as possible
Mm-hmm.
because of the medication. Anytime you're on any medication, the chemicals will
Cause
mix
your
with
hair to
that.
break off and break out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
That sounds good. Now there was something else that interesting that I learned on commercial break from you,
Okay.
is that we talked about having kidney
Kidneys.
implants, and I was under the impression that when you have a kidney implant or a kidney, when somebody donates a kidney to you, that they take out the one of the kidneys that's not working properly and they put in that new kidney. But you told me that they don't do that.
No, they don't necessarily, unless there's something that kidney is doing to the rest of the body, then they'll take it out. But they don't normally just take out the kidney to implant a kidney. They just attach the kidney.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
It's
you have
just-
3 kidneys,
yeah, you'll have 3 kidneys,
2 dysfunctional and 1
and
is not.
and 2 that's if you only have, if you, like, for example, both my kidneys are um, mm, not functioning,
Mm-hmm.
okay, properly,
Mm-hmm.
at 100%. So once my kidney function fails, they're both gone. So I will have, if I get a transplant, I will have 1 good kidney and 2 non-functioning kidneys.
Okay, but you could live off of that one that is
Oh,
functioning.
absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Well, we are going to go to another commercial break, and we're going to bring up your fiance,
Yes.
who is actually a match for you,
Yes.
and when necessary, will become a donor for you.
Yeah, if necessary. My doctors say that I will not see dialysis.
Awesome,
So-
awesome, awesome. So we
we're
want to
praying.
bring him on so you can, talk a little bit about him and how awesome it is that God found you a donor and a life
Yes.
partner.
Exactly.
So we'll be right back. Still with Miss Vanessa, but with her fiance, Frederick, and he is also her donor. So tell us a little bit about that, and welcome to the set, Frederick.
Thank you.
Well, with kidney failure, you're going to either go on dialysis or you're going to have a donor. Well, last year, I just met Frederick last year, and I told him about my condition, and he right away, I believe it was because of his dad, he right away said, okay, I want to be a donor. I would walk around and be like, my stomach, because my kidneys cause my stomach to, continue to be large because my kidneys weigh about 27 pounds themselves. One is the size of a football, and the other one is the size of a grapefruit. So I would always be complaining, I can't get my stomach will never go down, my stomach. So Frederick said, well, let's remedy that. Let's just give you my kidney and then we can shut that down.
Oh,
And so we went to my doctor, my physician, got tests run, and thank God he's able to donate a kidney.
what a blessing.
Yes, it was.
Well, first of all, I commend you for donating your kidney. And I know that, they said that for better or worse, and you guys are not even married, but you're stepping up as a man and taking the responsibility as the head of your household now to show her that when you do commit, that your obligations have already been met through what you're doing now.
Yes, sir.
Some people can't even open up a bank account together to commit to that.
Right, yes, sir.
And you giving a kidney. So how do you feel about that?
I feel good about it. I wasn't able to help my father out because he passed because of kidney failure. And
Condolences go out to your family.
yes, sir, I appreciate it. And I wanted to, but he was so far gone that it wasn't possible. And my father was one of those that he didn't want to tell anybody what was going on. So And I think a lot of guys, not excluding women, but a lot of guys do that. You know, they want to keep it hush hush. They want to tell you, you know, I got everything under control. But you know,
That's
yes,
me.
sir. And I believe I've did that sometime in my past. I probably still do it, depending on what it is. But you know, you got to take charge and take care of yourself because you know you have to take care of yourself,
Right.
even though you leave loved ones behind. But you have to take care of yourself, and if you're not going to do that, tell somebody about it so they can help you out. You know?
Well, you know, like my father grew up in 1929 in the 20s, and in his era, men didn't tell a lot, didn't give a lot of information,
Right.
not even with their families and their kids.
Right.
And it's kind of, for me, it's traditionally passed it down where I don't even hardly talk about my problems and illness and what's going on with me. I'd rather keep it to myself and deal with it until it gets to the point where I'm ready to talk about it. Because I don't want anybody to have that sympathy feeling for me.
Right.
You know, you're used to doing everything for yourself, and now you got to depend on people.
Right.
And for some people, and if I'm speaking for me, you don't know whether or not it's sincere or somebody just doing it because they think you're going to pass and they lining themselves up to get into your
Right.
pocket.
Yeah.
But I mean, I may be looking at it the wrong way, but for me, I just know that I was raised differently, where in that era, men kept things to themselves, they did things for their families, and if it got to the point where it got too bad for us, then we exposed ourselves. To give you an example, I played high school football. My appendix had erupted, it was ready to erupt, and I didn't know that in football, no pain, no gain.
Right.
And so I went home, did my homework, caught the bus back to school, and I noticed that I couldn't walk. And I'm walking like this. And everybody thought, oh, you got a Charlie horse, you know, you got a cramp. No, I wasn't a cramp. I was in pain.
Right.
And it felt like needles was coming out. And I was 17 years old. And I called my mother and I rushed home. And I walked, we lived about 2 miles from Children's Hospital. So during that time, my father was at work. I walked from Children's Hospital, my house to Children's Hospital. And by the time I got to the hospital, they told me 2 minutes later, my appendix was going to erupt. And from that point, from that point on, I just kept everything quite knit to myself with the fact that I did it on my own. But it was, I guess, this educational piece that we have to come out of and open up. That older men have to open up to the younger men and show them this is the right way to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I commend you, man. That's brilliant. And I know
appreciate
that
it, sir.
your queen is happy, and
Absolutely.
you guys gonna have a fruitful and multiplying,
Yes, sir.
great life. And you know, when she came to you, you know, did you hesitate or you just said, let's do it?
Well, she didn't come to me, and till this day, continuously, she says she doesn't need it, you know. But if you love somebody, you know, you don't want to see them in pain. You know, she always, I don't know if I should probably say
It's
this, but
okay.
you know, you want to be able to function like a normal person.
Right.
Well, if you have some stipulation, what you categorize a normal person as, but be able to eat what you want, be able to wear what you want, be able to do what you want, you know, and do certain
He wants
situations.
to be able to eat what he wants.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So being that
Because
she can't,
on this
you know.
diet, he has to eat like me.
Oh,
So
okay.
he wants to be able to eat what he wants.
Right.
No.
So, but after if you become a donor and you donate your kidney, then you can go back to eating what you want.
Well, I would stay on that same regimen, you know,
Mhm.
because now I have one kidney, and I also need to take care of myself.
Correct.
So, you know, I want to live. You
Right.
know, there's a whole lot of stuff out there, a whole lot of things that I haven't seen. I want to live. You know, I also have a 4-year-old son,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I want him to see, I want to raise him right because there's a lot of stuff out here that's going on that I don't agree with.
Correct.
You know,
Right.
so, you know, I want my son to grow up the way that I feel that he should be raised.
Right. And I think that a diet is really important, and it just should be a way of life. Like exercise and diet and taking care of yourself should be a way of life. And like you were saying, Darnell, back in the day, men were looked upon as, you know,
Weak.
weak if
Yeah.
you went to the doctor or if you complained about anything, even to the point where, like we were talking on commercial break, if you expressed your emotions or your feelings, if you said I loved you or anything like that, it was seen as a sign of weakness. And I think that really and truly is not a sign of weakness, and we have to teach our young men that it's okay to, first of all, take care of yourself and to show your emotions, because that's the sign of a real man, one who is in touch with, you know, the whole being, and not just trying to be so masculine and masking everything, because prevention is actually going and making sure that everything is okay with you.
Right, that's true. That's true. I mean, like I said, the education part of it, you know, when you was born in a different era where the fact
Correct.
that, you know, this is what you was taught, this is what you was brought up on, is you live that lifestyle. And you
Exactly.
pass it on from generation to generation. But sooner or later, that curse has to be broken.
Yes.
That's right.
And I think it has been broken with my son, where I tell him that I love him. Like I told you earlier on commercial, one of the things I live with is that my father died, never told me he loved me. You know, he told people he was proud of me. He told me he was proud of me. But as a son, you always want to hear your father say he love you, you're proud of you. And when my father went through his illness, he had a stroke and a heart attack before he died. When he retired, I had to take care of him. I had to bathe him, I had to clothe him, I had to shave him. And people said, oh, you don't mind? I looked at my father in a different way because that was the man I love, I wanted to be like. And, you know, taking care of him was my honor and privilege because he gave me life, helped contribute, give me my life. And, you know, so you look at life totally different when your parents get up in age and you have to take care of them. And you know, excuse my language, that's why I tell these knuckleheads today,
Absolutely.
you know, to have their parents, both of my parents are deceased, is that you only have one mother and one father.
Absolutely.
And you need to cherish them and love them. And the Bible tell you, you know, love thy mother and father all the days of their life. You know, even in my parents' death, I started a business that's very successful because of them. And because of their death, I bought life in their name that would be broadcast all around the world, which is W&T Travel Service, which is Wim and T.O. Lee. And, you know, I tell kids over and over again, Mom, I see kids, I hate you, I hate you. We got up off the floor.
Oh my goodness.
You go to child. Matter of fact, the phone was already dialed for child abuse, for Child Protective Service to come get us,
Exactly.
because you know they didn't play that then. So now it's a different culture, different era. You can send your son to a prison to get disciplined, but you can't correct him at home.
Isn't that a mess?
Is that amazing? I can build prisons and house your child,
Right.
but you better not discipline them because the correction officers can correct them better than you can.
Right.
But getting back to the subject,
Yeah,
excuse me, I had a moment.
It's
One
all
moment
right.
I had a hot flash.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's all right.
You know, it's just that, you know, I commend you again. You know, I had a friend, I told your fiance earlier, that has kidney problems, and we're going to get tested. I talked to my wife and asked her if I was a match for him, how would she feel if I became a donor? And she told me it was on me. And so I prayed to God and asked God, if that's his will for me to give him that donor, then I would have to step up as well.
And that's kind of sort of what we're going through right now with my husband's mother. She had a stroke, and thank God she lived through it, but her kidneys are failing. And she had been suffering with that for a while prior to the stroke. And she also has high blood pressure and diabetes. And she is determined, as I was saying earlier, it's your attitude. She told us that in the midst of her being in a semi-coma, she could hear everybody talking, but she couldn't respond. But she said she prayed all night long, telling God, it's not my time, I'm not ready. There's so much more stuff I have to do. My kids ain't ready for me to go. I still have some stuff to get into them. And she said that she was actually having a dialogue with God, and God honored her because she's still here. She's in rehab. She said that she will fight with everything in her before she go on dialysis. And I think that God has honored that fight in her, that attitude of hers, that positive attitude.
Bible said, ask not, have not.
Exactly. And
So-
everything that she is asking for him, because she's been a praying woman all her life, he's restoring it. He's giving it to her. And I just say that in your case, you know, everything that you've asked for, God is giving it to you, even in a mate that is a positive match for you. I mean, only God can do something like that.
Only God.
And I think for Frederick, you know, Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's why you made up your mind to donate the kid with no hesitation. See, when y'all got us, you know, we the head, but y'all got that, turn that neck.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That neck turn, yeah. So he saw a virtuous woman that he wants to be there through life as well as death, and he's committed. See it in his eyes. Look at love is in there.
And also he went through seeing his father
Right.
with kidney failure, and and he loved his father and he took care of his dad, and he was
Yeah.
explaining that,
Mhm.
and he doesn't want to see the woman he loves
Yeah.
That's
go
right.
through
Have
that
to go
if
through
he can help
Absolutely.
her. So
Absolutely.
And my son, like, you know, my son has the same condition, and
how old is he?
he's 18.
What's his name?
His name
Give
is
him a shout
Collis.
out.
Shout out to Collis, Doc. I call him Dr. Foster. Shout out to Collis. He's 18. So between the two of us, we have two only, which is
Mhm.
good.
And give a shout out to your other son.
Maceo. Shout out to Maceo. Shout Maceo out.
Maceo.
So you see how we do it? They say, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we like, woo. They're like,
Like, what up,
"Maceo."
boy? We'll do like, what up, boy? You better be watching your mouth.
But you know what? I think he still can. You know, men can still, because I believe only a man can raise a man.
Yeah.
And even as a mother, no matter what we instill and put into those
Yes.
boys and those baby boys of ours, it's only a male figure
Yes.
that can show them and emulate to them what it is to be a man. But I think also it's very important that the men, if you don't have a husband or whatever male figure you put in their life, that they also show them how to be a real man, how to be in touch with their emotions, how to make sure they say, I love you.
Right.
Good role models.
And
Yeah.
good role models,
Yes.
and not be, as my husband would say, we don't want to teach them to be girly,
Right.
but you can
Right.
still, they can still be macho,
Right.
and they can still know what it is to be a man,
Absolutely.
but still be able to say, I love you,
Yes.
Absolutely.
and stand by their word, and get out there and get a job, and take care of their family.
Yes.
So to be meek like a dove, but roar like a
That's
tiger.
right,
There you
that's
go.
right,
A lion.
That's
You gotta
right.
Put it on lion.
Yes,
that's
sir.
right. If you're gonna be the head, be the head.
That's
You know,
it.
and Fred, you know, I'm just sitting back thinking, you know, some people may laugh at this, but this is true in today's society, where most people will go and put more insurance on them because they're preparing for the afterlife.
Yeah.
You just walking with it, man, and you know that's a great testimony
Yes, sir.
for viewers and for men to look at. You know, you guys ready to get married. So when is the date? Is there a date?
Well, we're looking at August, but we're just going to go to the Justice of the Peace.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yes,
Mm.
because the foundation is costing a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so we'll just keep you guys posted on that. We're just
Okay.
going to do the Justice of the Peace.
We're gonna donate some red beans.
That,
Yeah.
hey, there's nothing wrong with the justice of peace. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but going back to donors, kidney donors,
Mhm.
if whoever donates to your friend, or like Frederick donates to me, your name automatically goes to the top of the kidney list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was watching the show this morning on the news, and they were saying that for kidneys and donors, it's a 3-year wait. I was in Georgia. There was a detective down there who needed a kidney, and they had people who did a Facebook page, and they was donating, and they did find a match for him. So what they're doing now, instead of have a 3-year wait, they're donating for him so he would get that kidney.
Right.
So how is it important, I'm gonna use me as an example, for, right now there's nothing wrong with my kidney. I don't think there's nothing wrong with my son's kidney, but for siblings to get tested to see where they're compatible or not.
It's very important for a sibling to get tested to see if they're compatible. However, it's more important to make sure they get tested to make sure they don't have a condition.
Okay.
Because a lot of things are preventable. Like for myself, I found out about my disease when my son was 2. He was 2. But my father didn't know about his condition until his kidneys failed. So I knew, and my doctors are doing everything to prevent my kidneys from failing.
Mm-hmm.
Our kidneys deteriorate in function as we get older,
Right.
naturally.
Right.
However, if you have a condition, then it deteriorates quicker. So my doctors are in the process now of slowing down the
Degenerative process.
exactly.
Yes. Yes, and I think how does blood transfusions help with that? Because my mother-in-law, because her kidneys were trying their best to function, her doctors felt that she needed a transfusion because her blood count was low. Gave her a transfusion, which she fought 100. She wanted her children to give her a blood transfusion, and they had to explain to her that, Mom, even though we may be a match, our blood has to go through a whole process, and you may not even get our blood. So then once she was educated and understood what a real blood transfusion is, not what you see on TV, well, okay, just hook her up to me and we just go transfuse blood together. Then she took it, and she took the blood and she's doing really good. Her kidneys are doing really good. So how important are blood transfusions for kidney function?
See, the thing is, kidneys produce bone marrow. And as far as a transfusion is concerned, anytime, it depends on why your kidneys failed. A blood transfusion wouldn't do anything for me.
Gotcha.
Because it's hereditary.
Right.
I have cysts on my kidneys. That's what it is. So it just depends on the reason why your kidneys failed, whether a blood transfusion would help or not. Back years ago, 20 years ago, my father was on dialysis for 20 years. And 20 years ago, they tried to do something similar to that, which was called a blue baby. That's what they called it at the time, where they took all his blood out and put all his blood in. So we took his blood out, cleaned it, and put his blood back in hopes that the kidneys, in hopes that the kidneys would kick back in, because now it doesn't have a lot of stuff in the system to process. So, but that didn't work because of his condition.
Correct.
Right. So it's hereditary. It's a gene. It's a mutated gene. But scientists have gotten this thing down to such a unique science until they know the chromosome, they know the gene that's mutated, they know everything. So my son, who has kidney disease, he's only 18.
Right.
My son's children do not have to be born with kidney disease.
Awesome, awesome.
And they're in the process. Also, my doctor was telling me to create kidneys in a petri dish.
Wow.
So, you know, by the time my son and other youngsters who have kidney disease, they'll be able to
create a
make their
kidney
own
in the
kidney.
lab, right?
Exactly. Make their own kidney and put it inside them.
Right,
You know,
right.
you see the dialysis machines are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
That's
And
a
now they're making
blessing.
everything with plastic and, you know, with the artificial hearts.
Exactly.
And, you know, they go into labs and, you know, technology is amazing nowadays, and
Come a long
cloning
way.
people and animals, and,
Exactly.
and then you get 6, 8 babies at one time.
Exactly.
Ooh,
So you never know.
Exactly. That's scary.
A young lady had 8 babies at one time?
God bless her.
Yes,
Yeah.
rock the mom.
Was she from New Jersey or Florida?
She wasn't from New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
She was not from New Jersey.
Was she from Florida?
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
No, wasn't she California?
California? Oh,
It
okay.
was California.
But that makes me so optimistic because cancer is such a vicious killer of so many people every day, you know, every second. And someday I really, really, truly believe that God is going to help scientists and doctors find a cure, and for that and for everything that ails us.
And you know, my oldest brother was ready to retire from the government printing office, and he died of leukemia. None of my siblings have cancer. None of us have never had cancer. And he was the first one to pick up, had leukemia. And how he found out, he was in the bathroom brushing his teeth, and his gums was bleeding. His wife said, go to the doctor. He finally listened. He went to the doctor. He went to Kaiser, and 2 weeks later he died from leukemia. And it was so rapid that because of the chemicals that he worked around in the government printing office, he came in as a young man, and for 35 years, and he was going to retire 2 weeks before he died. And so people need to understand that, you know, when you're working around different chemicals in automobile industry as an auto mechanic, and working as different laborers in the field in the construction industry, you need to know the chemicals that you inhaling, because it also leads to different cancers and breaking your system. Because your immune system, when you come in a young man, you're aggressive, you know, you can breathe, and as you get older, your immune system is breaking down. And now that's when you get the different illnesses and cancers and things that come into your body.
Exactly.
And for me, going through with my parents, I became a doctor because, you know, you just sitting there, you listen to all this, you writing it down. And then as you go, when you see your other siblings or family or friends go through it, or you can sit there and say, oh, it was the polyps, it was this, it was that.
Yeah.
You can start diagnosing what's going on
Exactly.
and helping them out as well.
Yeah, you know, that's what the same thing that I do for my siblings. I'm always, you know, go to the doctor, make
Mhm.
sure you know, your blood pressure, keep your blood pressure low, you know. And you have to do these types of things. You know, and that's another reason why I want the foundation to do fun things, you know, because when we have these conditions where it's inevitable, God is going to call us home, probably sooner than later, depending, you know, and I just want them to live a little, you know, live a little bit. And
Well, Frederick, we know
I know.
how important this organization is to Vanessa. Tell us why it's important to you.
It gives, we feel that this organization will give a whole lot of people a lot more chances and a lot more opportunities in life. You know, it can expand people's knowledge, you know, in different illnesses that we may support, you know, and it can just give a whole lot of people more opportunity. For me, I don't know if I ever would have thought about or gotten into something like this if it had not been my father's situation of passing from kidney failure. Now, I'm all about anything that has to do with kidney disease as well as other illnesses. You know, but this Walk With Me Lord Foundation is we feel it's going to open the door for so many opportunities, you know, that can give people information that don't know or that feel that this can't happen to me because it never happened.
Correct.
I was in the same situation. Nobody in our family never got sick other than a little touch of high blood pressure, you know. But, you know, the big boom happened.
Correct.
So now we're learning about, you know, kidney diseases, you know. But this organization, it'll help a lot of people, you know, with different awarenesses of different illnesses, you know. And it's just something different. The Walk With Me Lord Foundation, walking the runway, you know, it'll give people life, you know. Walk the runway for different causes, you know. A lot of people never did before, you know, but you walk that runway and you see people cheering you on and saying yes, you know, cheering your name. You look good, you know. Go ahead, woman. Go ahead, girl. You wearing that dress, you know. Or, you know, the guys, you know, you walking in that suit, you know, or whatever they have on. You know, it makes them feel different. You know, show people love, excitement. We care. You can do it. I believe in you. I have faith in you. You know, give them that type of feeling, that type of love, you know, that type of camaraderie. You know, and I speak about camaraderie a whole lot because I was in service, so I'm just used to that.
Oh, well, thank you for your service.
Yes.
And what branch did you serve in?
The Army.
Okay, the best branch out there.
Yes,
I know.
ma'am.
Ooh.
Yes, ma'am.
But
Ooh.
anyway, you go back. Go ahead.
But, you know, it just, if you can come together, you know, you know, and just, you know, just instead of everybody separating, you know, let's come back together and help each other out, you know, and this the Walk With Me Lord Foundation is a beautiful thing, you know, I feel.
You know, the Bible says 2 or 3 together in His midst, God is in the middle of it. And we just spoke about unity.
Yes, sir.
You know, we have to unify our people and organize and show them, to give them the structure. And this is what this foundation is doing, giving structure and
Yes, sir.
strategizing the people to come together in unity for a cause. You know, whether it's breast cancer, ovarian cancer, no matter what the cause of cancer it is, or the
Big
Kidney
one, that
Foundation.
prostate cancer.
Oh yes.
That's big.
Well, you know, we
Mm-hmm.
you know, we
Yeah,
hit like, all I can feel is like that glove pop.
but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's really
Yeah.
worth it. And
It's
what
your
I think,
life.
and what I think is so unique about your organization is that walking the runway. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of times, you know, your normal everyday people don't get to walk the runway
that's
because there's
right.
all of these different criteria
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
models
That's
and
right.
you know what the world wants you to look like to
That's
order to
right.
qualify to even have the privilege to walk the runway.
That's right.
And so to give people that have illnesses or an opportunity to just walk the runway, and like you said, people are cheering for them.
That's
It makes them feel beautiful in the midst of
Absolutely.
an ugly situation.
That's right.
Yes.
And so I think that is absolutely awesome
Thank
that you
you.
guys came up with that. And then to put the Lord in it, you know, you have
Yes.
That's-
you know,
that-
I
yeah,
just love
that's-
that.
that's it
because
right there.
nothing that we do for man will last. It's only what we do for God
That's it.
that's going to
eternal.
even last.
It's eternal. Yeah.
And so this here is going to be something awesome. And I know you say you just started it 2 months ago, but God gave it to you,
He did.
and He's going to elevate it
That's it.
as quickly as He wants it to be
That's
elevated.
it.
So don't be weary
Okay.
in well doing. It will. You will reap
Yeah.
if you faint not.
Yeah.
And on that note, I know that you have a gentleman that you want to bring up that's going to
Yeah.
talk all about the show.
Right.
But can you give us your website again?
Yes.
Your temporary website
Yes.
until Naaman
Yes.
finishes
Yes.
the other one.
Well, you can text the word WALK, WALK, to 55469. Text the word WALK to 55469. Or you can always email us at TWWMLF, the Walk With Me Lord Foundation, at yahoo.com.
Now, before we go to break, give us a little introduction of the gentleman that you're going to bring on.
Okay, Ron Cook. Ron Cook and I have been friends for a very, very long time. I told you that I lived in Washington for over 20 years. I'm just moving back to Jersey. And so Ron and I, we've done fashion shows in, Ron, he's done fashion shows for the University of the District of Columbia. He's done fashion shows for Howard University, American University, different shows just to promote models, give models and designers and makeup artists some exposure. He's done.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm going to have to cut you off on that because Ron sounds like he did a whole lot. So we will take a commercial break, and then we will let Vanessa introduce Mr. Ron.
Okay.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Jackie Griffin Show. We still are joined by Vanessa, and she is going to introduce Ron to us. She started on the commercial break, but there just wasn't enough time for her to tell us everything that Ron does and has done for her and her organization.
Yes. Yes, I'm here to introduce Ron Cook. Ron Cook, I like to call him the fashion show runway coordinator extraordinaire. He has been extremely instrumental in my life as well as a lot of people's lives in this industry. Ron had a sister who passed away as well.
Sorry to hear that.
She had a condition, and so he's been very instrumental in opening my eyes and opening doors for me in the fashion industry. So I can't say enough about how much I care about this man. I just can't say enough about him. He's done fashion shows for Howard University, the University of District of Columbia, American University, as well as Fashion Week in London and in New York and just all over. Along with another designer that works with the foundation, Alon Moore, and Kevin Lorenzo as well. Again, I can't say enough about Ron. he's wonderful, and he's been very, very instrumental in my foundation, the Walk With Me Lord Foundation. So, without further ado, is that what they say in church? Without further ado, I want to introduce you to Ron Cook.
Thank thank you so much, Jackie, for having us here and having me here today. I'm a native Washingtonian.
Thank you, Jackie.
Go Redskins. And I
Yeah,
love
go
your
Redskins.
son. I love what he does. But more importantly, I love what I do. And it's so important that we walk with the Lord every day.
Mhm.
And so the Walk With Me Lord Foundation is something, it shouldn't just be a foundation, it should be a lifestyle.
Mhm. Mhm.
And whenever you do anything with a lifestyle, fashion is very much a part of it. I've been in the fashion business for over 35 years. I'm a former Congressional Black Caucus fashion show. As a matter of fact, the youngest Congressional Black Caucus fashion show producer. So I've been in the fashion business. God has blessed me to be in the fashion business for quite some time.
Awesome.
And I come from a family that was always entrenched in the fashion business. My sister, who just recently passed away,
Sorry to hear that.
my parents and my grandmother, they were always very stylish, and it
Yeah.
sort of kind of rubbed off on me, of sorts, I guess through osmosis.
Mhm.
And but my forte and my company's forte, Rogues Gallery Presents, is about emerging designers and emerging artists as far as designers, models, and makeup and hair stylists. I work with a lot of project runway designers, and I do a lot of work all around the country. Even though I'm a native Washingtonian, I've done fashion shows in Miami. As a matter of fact, I just got back from Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week doing a show for Floss magazine
That's awesome.
in Miami, a swimsuit show, as well as I do New York Fashion Week every February and September, and my shows basically work with emerging designers. And when we say emerging designers, we talk about designers who don't have the monies to be able to promote their business, like the Calvin Kleins and the Donna Karens. These are upcoming designers that for a lesser amount of money can still give a quality show
Right.
and show their garments in a setting that is upscale and shown in a way that they can actually compete
Right.
in the business.
Right.
So now the Walk With Me Lord Foundation, we're going to be featuring some amazing emerging designers, as Vanessa mentioned, Alon Moore and Kevin Lorenzo, out of New Jersey, two New Jersey designers that will be featured in the show for the foundation, as well as 40 and Fabulous. There are so many amazing people who are over 40, like myself, and Fabulous. And they will be, walking the walk for a cause.
Yes.
And that is so important. I think you touched upon it earlier, saying that, of course, in my business, for fashion, normally there are standards that you have to be a certain height, a certain weight, a certain look in order to be a model. Well, this particular show is going to be one where just, if you're 40 and you're fabulous and you want to give to this amazing cause, then we welcome you.
Right.
Because what you're trying to do is give something back
Yes.
to the community, and that is what this is all about, giving back to the community. And This is why, with the Walk With Me, Lord Foundation, we're looking for sponsors, great sponsors, to be able to give to the foundation, and and then that way, um, we're able to do more. Little things mean a lot.
Yes.
And that is what this is primarily about. But fashion touches everyone's lives.
Yes.
We all get dressed. We all,
Yes.
Go get our hair
you
done.
we all get a hair done and makeup and everything.
Yeah.
Shout out to Belize Vintage and Bella Marsh, who did an amazing job with Vanessa's hair and makeup. I know she doesn't normally wear it, but for this particular piece, of course, when we come on the Jackie Griffin show,
We have to be
we
fabulous.
We have to be fabulous. And make it look great. And it's really all about a movement.
Yes.
Right.
It's all about a movement and a lifestyle.
Exactly.
And that's what it is here.
Right. And I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
I would like to add, like with a lot of the life-altering conditions and illnesses, we, like, for example, breast cancer, a lot of women are getting mammograms. And just like my designer Alon was saying, that he will design dresses for these women, that have gotten, I'm sorry, not mammogram, mastectomy, who have gotten a mastectomy. They may have gotten a double mastectomy or a single mastectomy. You just don't know. And it's all about fashion. Just like with me, I have to pick out my clothes, to make sure that I feel comfortable with who I am, because of my kidneys are so huge that they make my stomach stick out, and people are you pregnant?
Can't tell, honey. You look
Yeah, you
fabulous.
pregnant.
Yeah,
So
you look wonderful.
right, so you have to. It is all about fashion, and even with dialysis, there's a fistula. They call it a fistula. We call it a fistula, and that we have to put in our arm, and it's sometimes not pretty to look
Right,
at.
right.
So we have to get clothes that will fit, and it's all, like Ron said, it's all about fashion. So
it's a lifestyle, Jackie.
Correct.
Right.
Nothing is promised, and we always want to look our best.
Correct.
right.
And we always want to look our best, regardless of what is going on with us internally.
Right.
And because fashion says a lot about ourselves, it is what people see first
Exactly.
about us.
Exactly.
So someone sees someone that, they may think, is an urban, quote unquote, individual, and they think that is who that person is, but that's
Right.
not necessarily who they are.
Right.
That's just what they choose to wear. I've seen some of the worst corporate thugs wear suits.
Right.
And like Mr. Darnell, I love your suit. It's very stylish.
Thank you,
You know
thank
what
you.
I mean? But you could be one of the first persons to pull a gun out on us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not saying that you would.
Never
You
judge
know
a
what
book
I
by
mean?
its cover.
Right.
And then you could see someone who is dressed in jeans and a T-shirt, and that could be the
Could be the
very,
humble.
the very person that could be there to give you a hand up. So you can't really judge a book by its cover, but it is very important that you feel comfortable in what it is that you wear, and let everything else come out from there. See how you talk. I mean, I'm a fashion person, but I also like football as well. I like sports, so you cannot judge someone on just how they dress.
Right.
You have to judge them as their character and how they speak and how they interact with you personally.
Correct.
Fashion is important because it's a feeling, and it's how you want to express who you are to the world, what you like to the world, but it's not all encompassing of who we are.
That's
Right.
awesome.
know.
And from what I'm hearing, this show is going to be awesome. You have
Yes.
you have awesome people in your corner
Right.
helping you put it
Thank
together
you.
with
Thank
the
you so much.
experience and the know-how, and they share your vision.
Right.
I heard you talk about you helping emerging
Yes.
fashion people who are coming into the industry, do you have a website? So if some of those individuals that are watching may want to contact you,
Oh, absolutely.
could you give them that website?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm on Facebook, Ron Cook. I also have roguesgallerypresents.com.
Can you spell that for him, please?
ROGUESGALLERY presents PRESENTS roguesgallerypresents.com. And I'm also on Twitter, Cook for You Too. Ron Cook, I'm Facebook, you can always reach me there.
That is
You can always
awesome.
reach me there. And as I said, I'm a native Washingtonian, but we do fashion shows in Virginia, I live in Virginia Beach. Shout out to VA, 2 up, 2 down. And but I'm a native Washingtonian, and I will always be a Washingtonian. My roots are here, and they're strong and they're solid. And but we do fashion shows in New York, Miami, Los Angeles, and I've even done shows in Paris, as well as Morocco, Cote d'Ivoire, and Niger, and South Africa. So I've traveled. I'm pretty old, Jackie.
I couldn't tell. But that's awesome. The experience level is
Yeah.
awesome.
And I love this lady, and when she called me, I was more than happy
Thank you.
to be
Thank you so
able
much.
to come and bring my expertise and anything else to the foundation, because I definitely walk with the Lord,
Awesome.
and that's so important. And I love fashion, and I love sports.
So I take it you're a Redskins fan.
Absolutely,
Cool.
RG3 all day long.
Yeah, me
Absolutely.
too.
I wonder why.
But in closing, this segment with your fabulous foundation and the fabulous things that you're doing,
Thank
the
you.
Walk With Me, Walk For Me,
Walk with
With
me,
Me,
Lord
Lord
Foundation.
awesome.
Thank
And
you.
is there anything that you want to tell our listeners and our viewers as far as just anything inspiration that you want to tell them?
Okay.
Speak your heart.
Okay. Well, for anyone who has a life-altering condition, just stay prayerful. You are wonderful, you are beautiful, and you are unique. And to those loved ones of the people with a life-altering condition, try to be that much more understanding. Try to educate yourself. Try to tell that person that in your family that you love them every day, and don't let them stand alone. And that's mainly it. And we'll be praying for you.
Wow.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Ron, in closing, for the entrepreneur or the kids in high school that's going through the fashion industry, what would you say to them with your expertise? Now that you consider a guru in the industry, so what would you say to those kids that are listening that want to be a fashion designer like yourself?
Follow your
What would you
dreams.
say to them?
Okay, well, I'm not a fashion designer. I'm more of a coordinator in order to help with them, and any emerging designers and children, young people who are out here who are trying to follow their dream. It's important that they find themselves.
Yeah, and they're given an
What
outlet.
what is it that they love about themselves? It's not just about clothing. It could be about accessories. It can be about anything fashion that makes them grow, that makes them smile, that makes them want to express themselves. It's about expression, self-expression, self-love. Getting back to what you talked earlier about not being selfish.
Right.
What is your gift? What is
Right.
it that you can give to the world
Yes.
from yourself, so that you can leave a legacy?
Yes.
I don't have children, but my legacy that I'm going to leave, my print, my stamp is about helping. And that's my mantra, and that's what I think young people today should understand, reach out, give your gift. If it's not accepted by some, it could be accepted by others.
So learn your purpose in life.
Right,
You
right.
know what it is that you do
Yes.
and do it well.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, Jackie and Mr. Lee, I would just like to tell.
And you're going to make me feel, oh, Mr. Lee.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I understand.
I just want to tell people with a condition to live.
Yes.
Live.
Yes.
Live your life. Live. There's so many things that's going to that comes out in the medical industry. There's so many changes that happen through the years. So just live your dreams.
Yes.
Continue to do what you do and find out as much information about your condition as you possibly can. And
So-
just live.
So learn your purpose,
Learn your purpose.
live,
Live.
love,
And lead.
So those 3 L's, we're going to take that.
Yes.
We're going to apply them to
And
our
walk with the
lives.
Lord.
There you go.
That's good.
While walking with the Lord,
That's right.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes.
we would like to thank Vanessa and
Thank
I
you,
would say her
Jackie.
crew for
Thank
being
you.
with us today.
Thank you, Jackie.
And I just want you all to make sure that you go online and that you really be a part of, I want to get it right, the Walk With Me Lord Foundation. And know that there is nothing that you have, no disease, no illness that
Condition.
you have,
Yeah.
that you cannot live a full and blessed life,
Yeah.
that the Lord won't help you with.
Right.
And like she said, like Vanessa said, live your
Yeah.
attitude, be positive,
Yeah.
knowing that with Christ all things are possible, and you can live with anything.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
We thank you for
Well, before we go, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to say happy birthday to Jackie. So everybody, let's sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, JG.
Jackie.
Happy birthday to you. And Ron, 2.5 years ago, we was blessed to have a new designer come in the DC area called JG. And fashion designer. So it coming to a store near you.
Oh,
Are you
wow.
really a fashion designer?
It's called JG.
That would be nice,
That
though.
would be
That
nice.
sound
What you
good,
wearing
Miss Jackie.
today? I love your dress.
I have no idea,
This is the original JG.
I know, right?
Change that.
but I have a daughter
Okay.
that went to school from fashion merchandising
Oh, really?
and
Where did she go?
business, and she went to Northwestern State
Okay.
in Natchez, Louisiana.
Okay.
And she helps me out a lot with my hair and my makeup.
Okay.
And she
That
is
dress
a
is
blessing.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
That
She's
dress-
a
Okay.
blessing. So I
Yeah.
just want to thank you all. I don't want to make this about me. I'm not selfish. Jenkins. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for the
You are
birthday
so
cake.
welcome.
And I just want to also remind our viewers out there that it's people like this that make a difference in our lives, and we must remember that we may have an illness or an ailment,
Right.
but your attitude needs to be that ailment or illness does not have you.
Exactly.
Live,
Love
love,
and lead.
lead
There
while
you go.
walking with,
With
the
the
Lord.
Lord.
We'll see you next week on the Jackie Griffin Show.